And good morning to your Fanatical pregame show.
That was
I'm
an
John.
abrupt ending.
I know that. And this is
Wow.
Steve Gill. Yeah, you like that? Kind of very, very abrupt for a good morning
Well,
to
that'll
you.
get your blood running early in the morning. Let's go.
Are live here on the Fanatical Elves Network. We are talking about the Cleveland Browns and the Arizona Cardinals. Game time 1:00 this afternoon down at Cleveland Browns Stadium. We can't wait. We're pumped. We're ready to see the Browns take care of those Cardinals who are flying in here to the state of Ohio. You know, the Cardinal is the aren't we the state bird, right? The Cardinal, right, of Ohio, I think.
I don't know. I know the state bird of Tennessee is the mockingbird.
Okay. Well,
and we have numerous state trees, which I don't understand, but that's okay.
Numerous, more than one. Wow.
Yeah.
Well, they just can't make up their mind down there in Tennessee, right?
Well, then also we have a lot of native plants here, like 9,000 species of native plants to Tennessee.
Wow.
I know this because my wife is a certified horticulturalist. So.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
Well, so the Brownies have a big game. They got Deshaun Watson returning. What are your initial thoughts about Deshaun in today's game?
Well, everybody's going to be watching the right shoulder of the $230 million man. Hopefully Kevin Stefanski will keep it simple like he's done with PJ Walker.
Yes.
Looking at the Cardinals defense, I think the screen game can really flourish like it did in Seattle, and like to see some little short passes. We'll see more, according to a friend of mine who's in the know. We're going to see more of Pierre Strong, both on special teams and in the game, which is good.
Love it.
Love it. I love him as a player. Elijah Moore wants to be more involved. So who knows if he's going to return punts or if the new guy called up off the practice squad will be returning punts.
Right.
Fouché. I don't know how to pronounce the name. I haven't heard it yet.
Right.
And more good news. No offensive lineman was promoted from the practice squad yesterday. So that means Wills and Jones are a go.
So Jones is a go. Wills is a go. I'm happier about Jones being a go. I was concerned. I mean, I like having that giant on the right side of our line. But
over the last 3 weeks, Wills has played a ton better since the bye week. I think they sat him down and said, look, you've got to play better. And he's concentrating a lot more. He'll give up an occasional,
well, just to see his enthusiasm in that win against the Colts the other day, he was genuinely excited. Speaking of emotion, did you see, I don't know how to take this in the, not a Cleveland Browns topic here, but Caleb Williams last night, they had a great game between USC and Washington. And I know like at the end of the game, there was some press video of him jumping into the stands with his family, and he basically kind of broke down in tears, and it was rough. It's rough to watch, and it's always interesting. We talked about social media the other day and how it's affected everything about our lives. And here's another example of where half the country says, "Oh, he's a wimp. He does emotional. He can't handle. He won't be able to handle the NFL." But then the other half is like consoling the kid, and it's tough, man. When you're in the spotlight,
he has a passion for the game and he wants to win.
See, and that's the thing, and I agree with that take. And it's just funny how everything is so like put out there now, and there's
I know
all these things that we talked about earlier in another show, and how people and how athletes. I think about my own daughter Mariah, who used to play college basketball at Buffalo, and the strain and the stressors of being in those games and in those big moments, and not wanting to show emotion during the game, but then just having hard times. Things like that happen to a lot of athletes. Caleb Williams is not the first kid that has gone over to their parents. It's just the fact that it was highlighted on everybody that had a video camera saw it. So
I know. He can't help it if USC's defense stinks.
No. So back to the game here with the Brownies. They're 11.5-point favorites.
Wow.
11.5,
Up against
not
this one?
one, not two, 11.5 point favorites. And
It was 10.5 yesterday, wasn't it? Wow.
it went up a point. Maybe
Holy cow.
maybe it was because we got the extra hour sleep. Somebody in Vegas, said, let's
Woke up and went, boom, another
yeah.
point.
I don't know. The Browns have had two pretty good, convincing blowout wins, one against Cincinnati and one against Tennessee, that they were in control. And so I could see them winning by 11.5, but it just makes me a little nervous considering everything. Where do you sit with that? Yeah. You're a little nervous.
The thing about the Cardinals is their defense. They're 8th in the league in sacks, 4th in the league in tackle for a loss. 11 players have at least one sack, and 5 players have career highs in sacks. So they usually bring 3, drop 8 because their secondary sucks.
Okay.
But they don't blitz much, but when they do, it's a full blitz.
Yeah.
So that's the only thing that concerns me. As for their secondary,
right.
They allow 101 quarterback rating against tight ends, 104 against wide receivers, and 106 as a whole. So that's not very good.
Right.
So if Kevin Stefanski keeps that short passing game, be a little patient, then maybe something will open up in the second half where you can really do what, like they did against Tennessee, that last touchdown pass to Amari Cooper. They set that up perfect. So
right.
Well, so I think that's the only thing that really concerns me is take advantage of them when they blitz. That's it.
Sam talked a little bit about in his podcast, The Browns Breakdowns. He reminded everybody that the Cardinals did beat the Dallas Cowboys in Arizona. That is their lone win, and that the Cowboys are a pretty good team. And maybe
that's back when they had James Conner and Ertz, the tight end. Both of those guys are on IR, and their second running back, who ran up 125 yards against Baltimore, he didn't practice all week. So they're on their third string running back and a rookie quarterback.
Right. So, well, we'll see. I think
let's see what the pressure does.
Getting the Browns off to a better start, especially defensively, not allowing the other team, like Seattle scored 14 points quickly in the game. Not giving the Cardinals in this game that opportunity. I mean, I could see it happening, though. I could see them scoring a quick touchdown, and it makes me nervous, but I think the Browns can regroup. We've seen it time and time again this year, but
I think it's going to be more like the Cincinnati and Tennessee game. They were pretty much on Tannehill and Joe Burrow pretty quick. So I think that's more of the scenario. I don't know if they're going to get a lot of sacks. I do expect a lot of pressure. Got to hit the quarterback. That's the thing in Seattle. They hardly ever hit Geno Smith. All you got to do is hit him a couple of times.
I wondered. Yeah, and I wondered about that because I thought going into that Seattle game that the offensive line for Seattle was not as
it's bad.
But they really did a good job of protecting Geno Smith, and
they pressured him, but they didn't hit him. Gotta hit him.
Right.
Legally.
Right. So your take on Pierre Strong. I wrote a little bit about him in a couple articles. I know you wrote about some things in Cleveland Sports Talk. I wrote an article yesterday for them, also Northeast Ohio Sports Insiders. I wrote about the defense, especially in crunch time, and how they've faltered down the line here. Let's go back to Pierre Strong here. Pierre Strong had a really nice effort game the other week, 10 carries, 41 yards. And then he also caught a screen for 41 yards. And you and I have talked about this endlessly since the beginning since we picked him up. He's a very good back. He's got great size. I like his height. I like his ability to, he's got a quickness about him that is different. And I think that the Browns are smart to be exploiting his talents.
Don't explode him.
No, explode. No, oh, it's that extra hour of sleep. Okay.
Yeah, we'll blame it on that.
What do you think? What do you think about Pierre Strong?
I love him. I've loved him ever since they signed him. He's got great quickness, got great vision. I think all three of their running backs are completely different. I mean, you got Hunt, who again is playing like he did 2 years ago. He can run between the tackles. You've got Ford, who can also hit the edge, but not as quick as Strong. Strong is the perfect back to run a screen, just like David Njoku is the perfect tight end to run a screen.
See, now, but you mentioned the tight ends being that the Cardinals have done a good job of guarding against the tight
I went
end.
back and looked at the QBR. They allow 106 101 quarterback rating against tight ends. So they don't do that well against tight ends because basically they leave the middle of the field kind of open.
Okay,
so hopefully the Browns can exploit that.
Well, I mentioned the idea
Njoku and Moore kind of float out in the middle of the field.
I mentioned in my article too that based on what you had said earlier, I thought maybe the use of our wide receivers. We only have had one, like you said, scoring touchdown, Amari Cooper. And
that's amazing.
The other startling fact, the statistic on a overall team stat, which blew my mind last night and yesterday when I was researching this, is that, and you mentioned it, I think, on one of your shows, the Browns now lead the league in turnovers, 17
giveaways.
And in 2020, when they went to the playoffs, they only gave up 16 all season. And this year we've given up 17 and through 7 games. That has to get corrected. They're minus 10, I think, in the turnover takeaway ratio.
I think so.
Yeah. And I mean, we're second to dead last on that area. So that area really, and considering we still have half the season to go, that's where I panic as a Browns fan. I'm like, if they don't get that part of the game corrected, like pronto, we are in trouble.
I agree. Let's hope Deshaun Watson holds on to the ball. He does run into sacks. He does try to let his athletic Billy get him out of jams. But if he maintains, if he stays with the game plan, I think he'll be okay. Yeah. As long as he can throw the ball 50 yards. We'll find out pretty quick if he's like he did against the Colts. He wasn't passing the ball. He was pushing the ball. He was trying to push the ball to the wide receivers. We'll find out pretty quick.
Well, I'm anxious to see how this whole crowd at the stadium reacts. I'll be down there here in a few hours. Well, I know you don't care, but I'll be anxious to see how that affects. I mean, it shouldn't affect the players. The players are focused. They're professionals. I get all that. But based on where we are with Deshaun, I'm hoping he has a great game. And I think that every Browns fan is got their fingers crossed and is looking forward to seeing a great game. We're coming in.
I agree.
Playing against a team that's one win, 7 losses, except that win did come against the Dallas Cowboys. Any given Sunday, any team can win in the NFL. We've learned that a lot, especially this year. It seems like, everybody from the Buffalo Bills to the Kansas City Chiefs, everyone is right there. I mean, the Chiefs got beat a week ago by the Denver Broncos, who we thought were going to lose every game the rest of the season for the remaining, for the rest. And now
nobody thought the Browns were going to beat San Francisco when they came in to
Cleveland. And
especially
now
after that Baltimore game, everybody was going, "Oh, yikes!"
Exactly, and so now we see the 49ers are falling flat on their face, and just everything is just bizarre. The Bengals are starting to get a run on us. That'll be a big thing to see how that takes hold in the AFC North. We've got the Browns with 2 huge games against the Ravens and the Steelers the next 2 weeks, which I hope that, obviously we're all hoping for the win. If they come away with a loss today here in Cleveland, the Brownies do, that's going to be ginormously even more important. It is against the divisional foes in the AFC North, so those games matter a lot. Where do you see the next 3 weeks? What would you consider being a good scenario for the Browns over the next 3 weeks, including today?
3-0.
Yeah.
Let's see how Seattle survived. Baltimore survives playing Seattle today.
Are they out there again, or no?
They're in Baltimore, but they're hosting Seattle. So let's see how they do. And then Cincinnati's hosting Buffalo tonight. So of the 3 games this weekend, the Browns should have an easier go of it. Let's just put it that way.
Okay.
So if they can get a good convincing win this week, Watson looks good. You don't have to throw for 81% completion like you get in Tennessee. I'd take anything in the high 60s.
Right.
If he does that, then they should come out and beat the Cardinals pretty handily, and that'll set up a great showdown in Baltimore next Sunday.
Yeah, look, I think all Browns fans are. I mean, we're always optimistic. We're looking forward to the next week. We're hoping for a victory Monday tomorrow. If we do get a victory Monday, it'll be everyone will be sky high. Steve, you'll be bringing your Dog Pound South show tomorrow to review what's happened today. We'll hopefully, depending on the circumstances today, we'll probably try to get some sort of post game show out this evening. I will be up at the game, and I think so. So stay tuned for that if you're following us here on the Fanatical Elves Network. But Steve will have his show. We'll have all the additional shows. I know the Village Elliott is now bringing the Oracle Speaks editions. So he's got a lot of things to say. And so tune in for that.
As we say in the South, Elliott's a hoot.
Elliott is a hoot. Yes, he is. Steve, thanks again. Final thoughts on before we let you go?
Just looking forward to seeing how this offense works with a quarterback who hasn't played since week 3. So
absolutely.
That's my big curious. And also how fired up the defense comes out.
Well, the weather's going to be very, very
I saw
good today. It's going to be 50, 55, probably sun. I think it should be a really good day for some football. I don't think there's going to be a lot of wind. So we'll just wait and see. I am wearing my layers, though, because it does get a little chilly down there along the lake. So take care, Steve. Go Browns. And hopefully the Browns come away with a big win later on today between the Browns and the Cardinals. Go Browns. And thanks for joining us here on the Fanatical Elves Network. Talk to you next time.
Go Browns.